Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bookstack Coffee Chat. I'm so glad that you are here joining me today. So I hope that you are having a wonderful start to your day. It is 10 a.m. Eastern Time where I am at, and it is a glorious day. I'm glad to be here with you. And this is the month of May. We're almost halfway through it. Actually, I guess we're over halfway through it now. And it just dawned on me about how many observances there are in this month about things of the past. Of course, there's Mother's Day, so we honored our mothers. And remembered all the things that she has done for us and those mother figures in our lives. And at the end of the month, we are going to remember on Memorial Day all of the brave men and women in our services who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. But in the middle of all of that, there are a few other observances that you may or may not be aware of. So one is National Get Caught Reading Month. Which I love because, I love to read and share those recommendations here with you. And that actually ran as a campaign first in 1999 by the Association of American Publishers. And so we've been celebrating that ever since then. This month is also Personal History Awareness Month. And I had never learned of that until I became part of the Association of Personal Historians back in 2005. And that organization is no longer in operation, but it was a great reminder to all of us capturing people's histories to share the importance of it and promote it. And so the month of May was designated. And I'm thinking, I never learned the exact reason why May was designated, but I'm thinking now that I saw these on the calendar that this might be why. May is also Older Americans Month. And that was proclaimed back in 1976 by then President Gerald Ford. And also, the National Trust for Historic Preservation back in 1973 started National Preservation Month, which was May. So between the Preservation Month and Older Americans Month, it kind of combined, I guess, into the Personal History Awareness Month for that organization. And so I have been privileged to help people recognize the importance of their stories ever since I learned of that. In fact, last year in May, I was commissioned to help preserve and document one local individual's contributions to the North Side community of Wilmington. And so I got to interview a wonderful man, E.B. Davis, who actually took me around the North Side of Wilmington and also over to where he grew up on the other side of the Cape Fear River in Brunswick County, and got to learn so much history, and not only about the communities there, but also about his past. It was such a privilege and honor to be able to do that. And I encourage each of you, if you have family members, neighbors, anyone that you're aware of that has, even it's not, I shouldn't say significant, because everything is significant, right? Their life decisions, that learning from the past, even the most mundane things, can be significant to others. So I encourage you to talk with them, listen to their stories, document those stories, capture them, just, turn the record button on your phone, capture those stories. They're so important to do that. So this past week, this ties into what I was reading. I was at a different branch of a local library and was looking at their local history section. So how many of you look at the local history section of your libraries? If you haven't, they're usually stuck in the back somewhere. So maybe you don't go the whole way into the back of your library to discover them, but it's so worth the effort. There's so much just treasures of information, and you'll get a new appreciation for the area that you live in and the people who have come before you. And so I discovered this book I'm not sure if it's available everywhere, but it does have a barcode. So it's World War II Hometown and Homefront Heroes. There you go. And it's by Margaret Bigger. I'm not sure if she herself did all of the interviews, but it's a collection of first person interviews and oral histories that she combined. And it's all about the life experience stories from Carolina's Piedmont, both North Carolina and South Carolina. And it's all related to World War II home front. And it was just interesting. Having lived here on the coast, I'm much more familiar with the World War II history here in the Wilmington area, but I wasn't really as familiar with the Piedmont. So I learned quite a lot. And I knew the Piedmont is known in the past for its textile mills. And so it was interesting to discover how those factories shifted over during World War II. Of course, in a war, you need a lot of ammunition, right? And so one of the mills was turned into a naval ammunition depot, commonly called the shell loading plant. And just the massive size of this. And this was just one factory producing these. But the campus comprised of 272 buildings and employed approximately 7,500 people. This is massive. And the work shifts that they had, it said 3 8-hour shifts. Workers were expected to rotate every 4 weeks. To accommodate this workforce, the plant provided a laundry, which handled 8,312 coveralls and towels daily, a main cafeteria plus 6 smaller ones, a hospital, and a fire department with 4 fire trucks and 1 ambulance. So just to keep putting together and providing our service members overseas with all the ammunition that they needed, it was quite the undertaking. Some of the other textile mills produced, let's see here, it says uniforms, military uniforms. Some produced sheets, towels, and washcloths for the government. Let's see, others provided cloth for tents and camouflage, as well as osnaburg for sandbags. I never heard of osnaburg. I guess that's a type of material. Then another textile mill created army blankets, socks. Yeah, so just these mills were just pumping out different types of cloth and materials for all the different needs that I never really thought about. But makes sense in reading back through it. Another type of job that this woman, Mary Ellen Suet in South Carolina, had was working on creating maps, map making. And so initially they worked on maps of Italy and then later Japan, but they would take the maps and make them from Army intelligence maps that had been provided between 1865 and 1938. So they were trying to update them. And as new Army intelligence came in, they would strike out different buildings and different things that had already been taken care of. So it was just fascinating how they tried to keep up to date. And of course, they didn't mail these maps to Washington and the headquarters. There was one man who rode the train to hand deliver it to the Army when they were finished with maps. I thought that was interesting. Let's see here. And then there was always the need for more planes and parachutes and fixing things. And so this one lady worked reconditioning aircraft, and she said more than 600 people, including wounded vets and women, repaired 100 planes per month, urged on by their motto, keep 'em flying. And then the last thing I'm going to share from this book, which I thought was super interesting, were the people who worked at decoding in the intelligence units, decoding messages. And so lots of women were involved in that as well during the war. And she says here that anyone who was not too tired or sick would be expected to stay until every message in our office was decoded. Most of us stayed for 2 days and 2 nights. Once, when I went in the bathroom, I was afraid to sit on the toilet for fear I would fall asleep there. We could be shot for sleeping on duty. Finally, they let us take 15-minute naps as needed until the job was done. And I read that and I wondered, is that really true? I guess it was. This is her first person account. So they took their job very, very seriously. So it all got me to thinking, history has always interested me. And there's always so much to learn from the past, whether it's from books, whether it's from our family members and learning about their past. There's a lot to be learned. And I kind of came up with 3 main things that we learn. First, too often we tend to think that it was better in the past. We put on these rosy glasses and things were so much easier back then. But then when you actually hear from people and what they went through, things were not any easier. In fact, sometimes, a lot of the time, it was harder than what we experience today. It gives us a new appreciation for what we have today and what they did for us. Another observation is, doors open and close. Opportunities come and go, and whether we take advantage of them or not is the question, right? But I mean, look at all the women that were able to work in these non-traditional roles during the war and kept the home front going. It just, those were doors that opened at that time and then shut later, but are reopening as time goes on. But it's just fascinating to me to see this and to learn from them. And finally, we must choose who we follow and what we believe in. And there are always lessons learned, mistakes made, regrets, that kind of thing that we can learn from others. So it all goes down to, seeking wisdom so that we can make good decisions moving forward. It leads me to the best place to gain wisdom, which is the Bible and seeking God. And I thought of Proverbs 9:10, and let me read that for you. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." So when we seek Him, He will help direct our paths and help us to know which opportunities to take and what next steps to follow. And also, in keeping with where we're seeking our wisdom, there is a warning in the Bible about where you're looking for wisdom. And that leads me to 1 Corinthians 3:19, which says, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God." So be careful where you seek your advice. I always encourage you and will remind you to, return to the Bible. And, if you never know where exactly to look, go to John. The book of John is so rich and deep. And, in those moments of seeking encouragement, the Psalms are a fabulous place to go. And, when seeking specific wisdom, Proverbs are also excellent for that as well. So I hope that you can be caught reading this month. There's a hashtag and everything that you can take pictures of yourself reading and hashtag, hashtag get caught reading, I believe it is. So go read some books. Let me know what you're reading. Share in the comments, of any lessons you've learned from family members and the past. And I look forward to seeing you next week at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Take care. Have a blessed day.